Do you ever want to gently float up to someone and whisper, "This isn't a debate. I'm actually educated on the subject, and I'm telling you, you're wrong." Yes, and I would also like to gently float in general. This is the most positive addition that has ever been made on my post. I've done like 12 things in my life probably, and I regret 16 of them. Yeah, because you regret the things you don't do. That was deep. I'm jacking off. Forget the friend zone. Tell him he's the son you've always wanted. Queen Christina of Sweden literally did this to her cousin Charles Gustav. He had been in love with her for over a decade and had proposed to her on numerous occasions. Under great political pressure to break up with her girlfriend, marry, stop talking to French philosophers, continue fighting a religious war in Germany, etc., she converted from Protestantism to Catholicism and abdicated the throne to her cousin by adopting him as her son. She then moved to Rome to pursue her dreams of chilling with the Pope, funding the arts, and dating more women. Amazing. V for Vendetta. It is the year 2020. A virus runs wild in the world. Most Americans are dead, and Britain is ruled by a fascist dictator who promises security but not freedom. One man stands against him, the man named V, who moves through London like a wraith, despite the desperate efforts of the police. Oh no, OF. For F's sake. That's another one for apocalypse bingo. One of my favorite weird history moments has got to be when American agents tasked with Nixon's security while he was in the Soviet Union as vice president under Eisenhower detected unusual amounts of radiation in his hotel room, so they discussed it loudly to each other to make sure the Soviets knew that they knew, since there were obviously bugs everywhere, and the next day it just mysteriously went away and they never learned any more about it. Life during the Cold War was just whatever. The Soviets. What if we irradiated Nixon to try and give him radiation poisoning? Secret Service agents the room over. Wow, Nixon's room sure is radioactive. I sure hope we can figure out where all this radiation is coming from. The radiation in Nixon's room, that is. The one we are monitoring so closely, we even bothered to test for radiation levels. The Soviets. F-abort, they're onto us abort. If you think your family is dysfunctional, remember that Zeus got a woman pregnant, but she burned to death. So he rescued the fetus from her ashes and sewed it into his thigh and gave birth to it himself. And that fetus is now the god of wine and sexual deviancy. God bless. My great aunt stabbed her husband in the stomach on their anniversary, and he decided not to divorce her because he didn't want a custody battle over the goats. Alright, who wins that one? My perfect crime? I memorize the entirety of the massive store inventory. I then go on AliExpress.com and find exact replicas of every single purse in the store. I break in at 3 AM and replace every purse with a cheaper version of the purse. I take my real purses home and open up an online store on the darknet featuring fake purses. I then sell these real purses as fake purses, making it so that when the feds catch on to my antics, they spend countless years trying to figure out who can replicate purses this well and who is selling them. Soon, an entire division of the FBI is dedicated to finding me and figuring out how my fake purses appear to be real. 45 years later, they finally trace my IP address and break into my villa in Texas and shoot me right in the leg when I attempt to flee. While this would normally not be a fatal wound, due to my constant devotion to my online fake real purse storefront, I have suffered an iron deficiency for 35 years. My blood can't clot, and I start to bleed out. Turns out, the woman who shot me was a girl who I made out with once in college, and she holds my dying body in her arms and asks me how my fake purses were so real. I spend the last moments of my fleeting life telling her about how every 5 years I break into a different masses and replace all the purses, and that the purses I have been selling online for a severely discounted price were actually all real, and I have been doing this purely for the gag of it all. When my former college girlfriend gets home from work, after rightfully murdering me for my crimes, she goes into her walk-in closet, looks at the 13 Guxy purses she owns, and realizes that they're all fakes. Good guy. kills henchman. Henchman. Wow. Good guy to bad guy. I'm not going to kill you. That would make me a murderer like you. Henchman. Wow. Villain. Dude. What about Frank? Hero. Who? Villain. Frank. Franklin Jones. Wears my henchman's uniform. Had the key to my door. Got murdered by some hole 2 weeks before his kid's ballet recital. Hero. You know your henchman's names. Villain. Of course I do. I see these people every day. They're my friends. What? You thought I just went to the minion store and bought 300 assistants? People don't work for evil overlords unless they really like the evil overlord. Hero. Well, I mean, though henchmen were just kinda there. Villain. You thought Frank, whom I entrusted with the key to my personal chamber, who I named the godfather of my children, was just there. Hero. You have kids. Villain. How can you not know that? We've been nemesis for decades. Hero. Why would I know that? You're a hole I want dead. Villain. How am I the villain here? 99% of video games have this problem. Like you'll spend the entire game mowing down hundreds of people, but then you get to the boss, and it's like, oh, the moral thing to do here is to spare the person who caused all these horrible events to happen. Like, it's kinda weird that they only want you to be nice to the people in charge, but it's totally cool if you kill all these rank and file average Joes en masse. When capitalism is built into every modern day narrative. The older I get, the more I appreciate the competency and cooperativeness of those politicians who got together to kill Caesar. 60 agreed to kill him, and only 23 followed through with the plan, if I remember correctly. I'm American. Do you know how psyched I would be to get 23 senators to agree on direct action? According to Christopher Andrew, apparently, only one stroke was actually fatal. That is exactly as effective as I expect most political action to be honest. I think it's my duty to tell the world that not only a single stab was fatal, but also a bunch of those senators accidentally stabbed each other, and some of them died because of the wounds, cause they were panicking so much while attacking Caesar. This is it. This is the taxpayers' money in action. Incredible. You have a childhood trauma. Is this Stitch's girlfriend somehow edited over Princess Shiana's frog body? I'm actually going to pass out. She's your therapist, and she's trying to help you. B. Certified iconic post. Florida man on drugs kills imaginary friend and turns himself in. You can see the remorse in his eyes. Florida again. What the fking hell? Why is bearskin condoms a thing? Why would you want a condom made out of bearskin? Isn't that motherfucking animal cruelty? I have been informed that it is bearskin condoms. I'm so sorry. What if Australia actually exists? I meant America. Atlanta. I meant Atlanta. Don't you mean Atlantis? Yes, thank you, Atlantis. My favorite Half-Life fact is that, canonically, the amount of time you take to complete the games is how much time it takes Gordon Freeman to do everything in the story. This means that the entirety of HL1 up to HL2 Ep2 is just Gordon Freeman's single no good very bad day. The second unintended result of this fact is that speedrunners give Gordon the worst hour of his life, where the laws of the universe break apart around him. What if every single spider in the world was just replaced by a cat? I think that's a world I would love to live in. But imagine finding a cat in your bath. Just a wild cat in the bath. Waiting. People don't appreciate enough that Hogwarts had a giant squid in the lake. Not another magical beast. Not even a normal squid with magical properties. They just had a straight up giant squid in the lake, and everyone was cool about it. How did it even get there? Hagrid, probably. Why aren't ambulances free in America? America, what are you doing? Are you really going to make people in life-threatening situations pay for transport to the hospital? And then make them pay for life-saving treatment? What? To the spiders in the ceiling corners. You're keeping your end of the contract. Love you honeys. Catch those tasty flies. To the spiders halfway down the wall and touch in my furniture. You're on thin fucking ice, babes. So there's only one channel in this motel. This morning, while I was getting ready, I was watching Sesame Street. They were doing this bit where some clown was trying to wash his hands, but kept washing his feet or his elbows, and Elmo would go, "No, Mr. Noodle, your hands." And all the TV kids would laugh. Around the 4th or 5th time he couldn't find his hands, I heard a grown man yell from somewhere else in the motel, "God damn it, Mr. Noodle." The Shape of Water, 2017. Directed by Guillermo del Toro. This is the polar opposite of Lost Point JPEG. Found Point JPEG. Synonyms are weird, because if you invite someone to your cottage in the forest, that just sounds nice and cozy. But if I invite you to my cabin in the woods, you're going to die. My favorite is explaining the difference between a butt dial and a booty call. It's called connotations. Try this one on force size. Forgive me, Father, I have sinned. Sorry, Daddy, I've been naughty. Great news. Language is now banned. Accidentally indulged in too much me time. Turns out, I've been reported missing for over 6 months and presumed dead by most local and national authorities. OP is living the dream. I love old science fiction because it's all like it's the distant year 2003 and man is exploring the deep corners of the universe. Like, God bless you, old sci-fi, you had such high hopes for us. If I were a drink, I'd be cherry vanilla coke. If you were a drink, what would you be? Everyone's like bleach or sewage, please. Calm down, edgelords. Apparently, I'm playing Skyrim again. And by playing Skyrim, I obviously mean spending hours installing mods before I ever open the game. Foreplay with Todd. Do you ever think before you post? Yes, I think funny, and hit post. In sex ed, the guys had to describe their perfect girl to class. One of the guys is gay, and he stood up in front of the class, cleared his throat, and said, "She would have a male PP," and sat back down. I logged into Tumblr only to find that it had updated/changed. Instead of what I'm used to, it had a banner at the top that said Tumblr in big neon blue bubble lettering. And instead of a lot of dark blue, the background color changed in random intervals. As I scrolled, all of the posts were just dark images with vague, gross looking shapes. There was no reblog button. I couldn't make my own posts. Stop giving staff new ideas. Me, Catholic, walking into a Protestant church with no depictions of Mary. Where's my mom? Me, Protestant, walking into a Catholic church with many depictions of Mary. Look, it's Mary. Look, it's Mary again. Look, it's Mary again. Look, Catholics. I just think she's neat. When I inherit an 18th century Irish castle from some mysterious and eccentric relative that I didn't know existed until that moment, it's over for you hoes.